Good morning, everyone. This is IMTM Worldwide Radio, and this is around the ATL Sidenotes. Thanks for those who will watch later in the day because they didn't know this was going to happen this morning. Usually this is when I would mention the phone number, but we're not doing a live radio show this morning. I'm actually doing a segment that I started a couple of weeks ago called Around the ATL Sidenotes, where I'm just popping in to talk about a particular subject that's sports related. Thanks again for those who have subscribed to the YouTube channel so far. It's not a lot because my fault, I haven't been talking about it, but if you're watching this, subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio page. By the way, we have some new shows that will be coming up. Of course, I have Around the ATL, I have the Women in Business show, and I have some other shows that will be coming. The Books to Read show, I'm going to start interviewing authors again, published authors, literary works, the whole nine. Also a show called The Top 5. My first show is going to be related to the top 80s cartoons of all time. So we're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks, maybe this weekend, actually. I might have time. By the way, of course, shout out to the Originative brand to getting us our first shirts for Around the ATL. The Originative brand actually designed the first and the current logo for Around the ATL, as well as other things. So definitely hit up that Instagram page there you see scrolling on the bottom. Let them know that Around the ATL sent you. They produce some great products, especially geared towards the sports fans of Atlanta. Custom gear, t-shirts, hats, all kind of cool things for all of your sports teams, which is a little bit of the subject matter for today. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me make sure I get this back up. I'll scroll that for a second. So today the title is There Is No Such Thing as a Fake Fan. Oh, by the way, you can listen to past episodes of Around the ATL on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Alexa, Spreaker, all kind of different platforms. Just type in Around the ATL. So if you can't watch a version of Around the ATL, you can always hear it. Put your headphones on, your earbuds, whatever, and you can listen to the show. All right, so there is no such thing as a fake fan. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I posted an article that I wrote, I believe in 2018, 2019, I can't remember, that was titled, There Is No Such Thing as a Fake Fan. Now, in that particular regard, I was talking about the Atlanta Falcons at the time and talking about the whole fight about Michael Vick and Matt Ryan and all that kind of good stuff, jibber jabber. Today, this morning, I had a response to a tweet that I did last night about the Atlanta Hawks. And it was pertaining to the fact that if the Hawks win tonight, and they win tomorrow against the Bucks, the Hawks will be 5-1 and possibly leading the Eastern Conference, which I think is a good thing. Anybody leading the conference? I don't care what part of the season it is, you're in the lead. It's a good thing. And if you're a Hawks fan, you know that the Hawks had a 6-9 start last year in their first 15 games. Those 9 losses, they never recovered from, really, did they? We lost 36 games last year. 39 games last year. Whatever it is, it was almost 40 games we lost last year, okay? Those 9 games matter. when you start the season off like that. Oh man, I'm getting sick, I guess. So, when your team is doing well, you would think that'd be a good thing. But no, the response I received was, well, Philly, they're like 1-4, and the Lakers, they haven't won a game yet, and the Clippers, they haven't started off well. Just chill. And I look at that response, and a couple of things pop in my head. First of all, I was like, what do any of those teams have to do with Atlanta? First of all, that was my first thought. Second of all, I was like, well, those teams are trash. Philly, they're trash. The Lakers, trash, right? Clippers can't have all their players play at the same time forever. They're trash. They're not winning nothing. Who cares? But then I was like, the underlying part was, well, why don't you want to see the Hawks in first? See, there's no such thing as a fake fan, because you either are a fan of the team or you're not a fan of the team. And that's it. There is no in between. There is no shucking and jiving. There is no wishy-washy. You either are a fan of the team or you're not a fan of the team. And it's very self-evident which way you stand on that. By the words that come out of your mouth, what you post online. Are you going to games? Are you watching the games? Are you watching the whole games? Are you watching all the games in the whole season? Do you know the players on the team from year to year? It's very easy to see all of these things. It really is. And it's telling that for so many decades, some people just can't come to the grips of making a decision. And they have 17 different teams that they supposedly are a fan of. They have 17 different jerseys, t-shirts under their shirts. So in case the team ain't going the way they want to, they take that shirt off and put someone else's shirt on or jersey on. There's no such thing as a fake fan. You either are a fan of a team or you're not a fan of the team. The Atlanta Falcons, because of Tampa losing last night, this weekend could be leading the NFC South. And for a lot of people in the city of Atlanta, that's not a good thing. They're not happy about it. They're not happy about the possibility of it happening. They're not talking about that. They're not. You know what they're still talking about? Matt Ryan. That's what they're talking about. The Atlanta Falcons, after having the seasons that they've had since winning winning the Super Bowl, getting to the Super Bowl, winning the NFC conference to get to the Super Bowl. They did do that in convincing fashion. But anyway, the seasons that they've had since then, they did make the playoffs after the year they went to the Super Bowl. But after that, they haven't done that great. They could be leading the NFC South. And that's not a good thing for a lot of people because they're not a fan of the team. They're just not. They hate everything about the team. See, the other thing about being a fan of a team to differentiate yourself is not only do you hate when the team is not doing well, you hate when the team is doing good. You hate it. You have nothing good to say ever, no matter who is doing what. Something positive. Player is making these strides to get better. This player made some tackles. This player got a deflection. This player did this, did that. Now, sometimes it's a matter of if a player is this bad, you're going to talk about a player. Duke Riley comes to mind. I gave Duke Riley all the chances I could until, you know what, he's just not a good player. He got to go. I'm not going to keep trying to praise somebody who's trash. Come on, let's get real. Marlon Davidson just got released finally. Big mistake. Could never play. I'm not going to keep praising him. Why would I do that? He's not good. And then you got people in the middle, like, I guess I'll go ahead and bring it up. Clint Capella on the Hawks, where he just has this aversion of being able to, people will be like, well, he finishes 50, 60% from the bucket and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's if those are lobs and he's dunking it. But he has no touch around the rim. How many layups can he miss? And there's some games where that mattered. We lost a lot of games by 4 or 5 points last year. Those all points count when you have a close game. When you're missing bunnies and you can't hit free throws and you're getting all these touches, I'm just saying, right? But yeah, he has those nights where he has really good defense. He plays great defense in the post. He gets the rebounds, he gets the blocks. That evens it out a little bit. If he's doing that all the time, great. But it's the times when he's not where we get in trouble, right? And what I've always said was, well, at this point, he's not ever really going to get any better on the offensive side. Let him just concentrate on just getting rebounds like Dennis Rodman did. Let him get 20 rebounds a night. He could dominate doing that, but he don't need to be nowhere near the paint on the offensive side of the ball. He's not an offensive threat. And by definition, he's taking it out of the best offensive threat we got is John Collins. He needs to be the primary on the pick and roll. He's the best finisher on our team. He don't miss in there. He don't miss. And he can shoot jumpers. And he hits his free throws. And he can hit threes. Right? So I went through all of that to say there's criticism and then there's hatred. You see what I'm saying? But we can be critical about those things because they're true. They can't be contested. There they are. From 0 to 5 feet, he's not the highest percentage shooter on our team. Okay? But I don't hate Clint. I just disagree with his usage. That's different from hating everybody on the team for one reason or another. Like Trae Young. There's people who hate Trae Young. They have never said anything good about Trae Young in 4 seasons, even though he's 25-9 for his career. 25-9. How many Hawks have we had that are 25-9 in their career? That's more right up above that average of what Nick was averaging, right? You know how many points Nick ended up with, right? Exactly. Not too many people average 9 assists a game in their career. Trae continues to do that. That puts him in the top 5 all time in assists, possibly top 3, depending on how many years he plays. Y'all know that, right? But people still hate Trae Young. Oh, he don't play defense. They don't play defense. Steve Nash never played defense. He's 2-time MVP. Interesting. All the other players have never played no defense in their lives, never even tried to. Somehow they're 6th man of the year or they're NBA champion. But no, with Trae, it's important. You hate Trae Young. You hate him. No matter what he does, no matter how many games he wins, no matter how much he makes the team better around him as much as he can, if you hit your shots, you hate Trae Young. There's no such thing as a fake fan. You either are a fan of the team or you are not a fan of the team. All these people hate Acuna. All these people hate Michael Harris. Hate all the things that they've done for this team up till now. But you hate those players. You hate those players. You hate them. So again, there is no such thing as a fake fan. You either are a fan of the team or you're not. You either enjoy watching your team play or you don't. Just say it. Just say, I don't like the team. And then everybody will be cool. But you can't keep being half and half like, cream for coffee, right? Wishy-washy. Because here's the other part of this, and this is the most important part of this subject. your team, whoever that team is, you knew when you became a fan of that team that there was a legit possibility that team would never win a championship. Because that's the goal of every team, is to win the championship of their sport. That is the goal. That's why you play. That's why the players are playing. That's why the coaches are coaching. They want a ring. They want that championship ring. They want to put it up there and be like, there it is. But it's possible it might not happen, which is why there's a Hall of Fame and all the other accolades and stuff that you can get during your career, just in case. But what happens when your team, if it hasn't won up till now and you've hated them the whole time, what happens when they do win? Are you still going to hate the team at that point? Because see, at that point, you got to keep it going. You got to say it with your chest. I still hate the team even though they won the Super Bowl. I still hate the team even though they won the NBA championship. I still hate the team even though they won 5 World Series in a row. I hate the team still because I just hate the team. I hate the city. I hate everything about it. You spew the hate. Can't change now. It's too late. You've made it known to so many people that you hate the team when they're doing bad, but also when they're doing good, when they are doing positive things, when they are turning it around. You hate the team and everything about it. You're not going to feel the same when the Hawks win their first NBA championship. Modern era, y'all. Well, what about St. Louis? I don't count St. Louis. Tony Ressler, the owner, don't count St. Louis. Yeah, legitimately, you have to count it, but nobody counts that. Nobody counts it. What are you going to feel like when the Atlanta Falcons win their first Super Bowl? See, you have to think about the fans that have never seen their team get to the Super Bowl. The Falcons have been to 2 Super Bowls. They've won 2 NFC championships. They've appeared in 4. There's some teams that have never made the conference finals of their respective sports still, much less win it and get to the championship game. Detroit Lions comes to mind. Cleveland Browns come to mind. Jacksonville hasn't been around that long, but the Jacksonville Jaguars come to mind, right? Wait. They might have went to a conference championship once because it was that one year they were actually kind of decent, right? But think about all the teams that had never won before and what happened when they won. No matter what happens after that, they have that one, right? Tampa, when they won their first one ever, they went from ugly orange uniforms, right? And they won a Super Bowl all of a sudden, right? Baltimore won their first one. The Philadelphia Eagles winning their first. Seattle Seahawks winning their first. No matter what happens, they have one. They've been to 2. Should have had 2. We all know what happened there. Philadelphia might not, well, I don't know. Philadelphia's pretty good this year, but they might never win a Super Bowl again. You never know. You never know. See, that's the whole thing, is that you have that hope that your team will make an appearance and win it. And how you will feel because you know you were there from whenever you started becoming a fan of that team. Most is when they're kids. Some is later, but most is when they're kids. Whatever the reason was, it was because of a particular player. It was the colors. It was the logo. Whatever it might have been that made you a fan of the team initially, you stayed. When the Cleveland Browns finally win a Super Bowl, if it happens, those fans definitely going to be like, man, I'm glad I stuck through it because I feel so good right now. I'm so ecstatic. I can't go to work for a month. You know, I'm so excited. Whatever will happen. That when Detroit wins their first Super Bowl, can you imagine the city of Detroit? And when the Atlanta Hawks win their first Super Bowl, first NBA championship, imagine what Peachtree Street will be like. People mention it Again, just to think the thought of it, for some people, they say, man, I know I'm going to just start crying. I'm going to just start bawling, whatever the case is. Because they know that they started with that team and there is no other team for them. That's the whole key. And so many people call themselves out with craziness, saying, oh, well, these other teams, they ain't doing so well so far. Just hold your horses, just chill, don't have fun, don't be a fan of that team, because they losers anyway. They ain't ever gonna win nothing. That's what they say when they're not a fan of the team. When you're a fan of the team, you say, hey, it's early, but there's hope. They're better. There's progress. Things are changing. That's why at the beginning of every spring training, every team says, hey, we got a shot. All the fans say, hey, we got a shot. We got these young cats coming in and boo, 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 boo. It's spring training. It's early. Everybody's 0-0. Let's see how things pan out at 162 games. Where is everybody? But at the beginning of the season, everybody has a shot. Who would have thought Cleveland would have had a shot? Cleveland, is it the Guardians, I guess? Can't keep up with these name changes, right? Who would have thought that the Padres had an inkling of a shot? Nobody saw the Phillies, right? They were playing steady this season near the end, but nobody thought they'd be there. And Phillies has a World Series or two, right? What happens when the Tampa Bay Rays win their first World Series? You see what I'm saying? Tampa Bay has always kind of been competitive, but they've never quite got there. Right? That's what it means to be a fan, that you're there from the beginning to the bitter end, wherever that end is, knowing that there was a possibility that they weren't going to win anyway, and you still stuck with them because you want to see your team succeed. And that's the point. And for all those who just refuse to enjoy and be hype about their team, no matter what point of the season it is, I feel for you. Again, there's a big difference between criticism and hatred. There's a big difference. I could talk positive things about players I disagree with being on a team at a certain point in time. But I'm never going to hate a player. There's just no room for that. And when a player is really bad, I'm going to say, that player got to go. But I don't hate the player. I just don't think he's helping the team. If he's not helping the team, why is he here? Sit him on the bench. Do something, but he don't need to be on the field. Jalen Mayfield comes to mind on the Atlanta Falcons. Look how the offensive line has played better without him being in the lineup. Great example. He's terrible. He gets people hurt. You see what I'm saying? I don't hate him. I just don't want him to be on the team. That's a big difference. You see what I'm saying? But there's some people who have a hatred towards people. That's not healthy. These are people who are at games yelling obscenities at players and stuff like that. You hate people. And that's not healthy. That's not cool. So hopefully this helps people have a differentiation in regards to fandom to an extent. Again, you have your opinion and that's cool and all, but at a certain point, it goes way overboard. But the biggest part of it inherently is, are you a fan of the team or not? I shouldn't have to worry about someone trying to say to me, don't have fun with your team because it's early in the season. Don't have belief and faith in your team because it's the beginning of the season. Don't worry. Don't say that about the Hawks. They ain't doing nothing yet. Hawks have only lost one game. As struggle as that has been so far, we ain't played a whole bunch of people yet, but we've only lost one game. That's better than losing 4 games. That's better. That's better. Okay. I don't care what galaxy you're in. 1-4 is not good. 4-1 is better than 1-4. It just is. The Falcons getting back to 500 and leading the division by a game is going to be a good thing. You play out the rest of that schedule, they could win the division and be in the playoffs. I said the Atlanta Falcons would win 9 games. I said that in April. And then after a couple of weeks of the season, I was like, well, wait a minute. If we can run like this, we got a shot at the playoffs too. Here we are. Because I'm positive about the team. I want to see the team succeed. We have all these circumstances, and yet, despite them, here we are. In the NFC, that ain't all that great, to be honest. I'm not saying the Falcons will win the conference, but you never know when you get in the playoffs. You never know. It's the whole point. You play the regular season to qualify for the playoffs. And at the point where you qualify for the playoffs, it's all bets are off. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Padres could have just have easily beat Philadelphia and been their first World Series ever. But it didn't happen. Unfortunately. Goodness gracious. Now we got to rely on the cheating Astros to cheat some more and hopefully beat Philly. Hopefully, So anyway, let me get out of here. I'm going to get some work done. I just wanted to come on here and do, the next episode of Around the ATL Side Notes. Again, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube page, please do so right now. Take a couple of seconds. It's the IMTM Worldwide YouTube page. I have all my different shows on there, programs, and be looking out for some of the new ones. And again, if you are a subscriber to iHeartRadio or Spotify, we get the most downloads from Spotify, believe it or not. I'm still not sure how that works, but Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Alexa. Apparently people are saying Alexa around the ATL, and it's popping up. I see it. So that's pretty cool. And of course, like I said, you want to follow myself and my co-host, Jordan Jackson, on Twitter. It's Intellect ATL and Jordan23 ATL. Definitely follow there. And of course, like I said, shout out to the Originative brand for the first shirts of Around the ATL in history. Appreciate it. Make sure you go to the Originative brand on Instagram. Make sure you let them know Around the ATL sent you. Make sure you get you a shirt. Make sure you get you a Brave shirt, Hawk shirt, Falcon shirt, whatever. It's all Georgia-centric and Atlanta-centric. So that's pretty cool. Till next time, I'll talk to you all later. Peace. Thank you.